For more reaction on the failed bailout bill today, we're joined by author of the book Fleece, 13 Weeks Now on the bestseller list, former Clinton advisor Dick Morris. Dick, as Paul Krugman points out today, he called it a pathetic attempt of House Republicans to lower capital gains taxes on failing institutions. They don't have those taxes to pay if they're failing. And it's not Fannie and Freddie, it's private institutions that were deregulated that have led to this current crisis.
Well, let's take that apart one at a time. Having capital gains tax right now is a little bit like having somebody begging for water in the Sahara Desert and you double the tax on water. People are probably not going to make a profit anyway, but if they do, let's not have the government threatening to double the tax on the profit that they make. But I think that basically, substantively, I believe the Republicans were right in this package. But I think McCain has mishandled this so horribly. I think he's thrown away a huge portion of his chances to win. The Republican Party and Newt Gingrich and the House Republicans set it up for him perfectly with this alternate proposal that's a superb proposal. Pence and Huckabee are right. And what McCain should have done is gone into that debate Friday night and said Obama wants a $750 billion taxpayer-funded bailout, and I want it to be done through insurance and through loan guarantees so it doesn't cost the taxpayer that much. And then with the strength of that debate performance, he would have ratcheted up the Republican plan, and the Democrats would have had to go along because they're not prepared to pass this on their own. Instead, what's going to happen is I think the Republicans will do pretty well. I think on Thursday when the House meets again, they're going to get most of what they want passed. But McCain will get no credit for it. It won't have been an issue in the election. And the only thing his suspension of his campaign did was it let Obama run unanswered negative ads for 6 days. Well, and you look at the poll numbers now where McCain is down by 6 and probably dropping further. He may just have thrown away the White House.
Well, he didn't really suspend his campaign. He had surrogates on TV. Ads still ran because the buys were already there into the next day. And he was already taking credit for this plan. Had this plan happened and gone through, he might have claimed credit for that, something it seemed he was poised to do. Yeah. But that wouldn't have sat well with many Americans who didn't like the plan to begin with.
Yeah, who wants to claim credit for this turkey? By 3 to 1, people oppose it. And you don't want to claim credit for that. What he should have done is killed it and claimed credit for killing it and then pushed the Republican plan. This is the first time that I've ever seen John McCain run out of guts.
Well, can he recover from this, or is this a fatal blow to his campaign?
Well, it sure is a tough one. Yeah, he can recover, because I think that Americans understand that in this particular time, with this particular horrible economic situation, put aside whether you're a liberal or conservative, a Democrat or Republican, you can't raise taxes now. And Barack Obama is in favor of raising taxes now. And McCain can legitimately make the case that quite apart from what would happen in normal times, this would destroy the American economy. But he needs some discipline. Stop these scattershot attacks.
Hey, there's one little problem with your theory about Senator McCain, and I don't disagree, and it's very frustrating to me because knowing the history, knowing the warnings that Senator McCain himself made when he called for reform 3 years ago for Freddie and Fannie, he was right. The fact that Obama basically is voting present by staying out of this.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but in my book, Outrage, the one before this, I quote McCain talking about Freddie and Fannie.
I been quoting him for days.
We talk all about his position on the subprime mortgages and how the Democratic committee chairman let this happen.
Well, and he warned that the taxpayers would be on the hook. He warned it would impact our financial institutions. He warned that it would have an impact on the economy. Those were his exact words. And ostensibly, Barack Obama, risk-aversive, is basically the equivalent of voting present here. The only thing I disagree with what you're saying here, Dick, when he went to Washington, he went to facilitate the discussion. There was no specific plan at the time, you know, in terms of the timeline that you're laying out here. And what he wanted, hang on a second, wait a minute, you're basically saying that he should have acted political. And rather that, and I think that goes against the gut and the instinct of who he is. He actually went there to solve the problem.
Yeah, and I was on your show on Thursday night, and I watched Newt Gingrich give this marvelous explanation of the Republican alternative plan. And I said that's just what McCain should be for. And that's got nothing to do with politics. Being for it was the right thing to do. Then he could have gone on television the next night with 55 million people watching and explained the differences between the two plans and wrapped this lemon around Obama's neck.
Well, remember,
and he didn't do it.
But remember, the deal wasn't struck until Saturday, Dick. And that's why I'm saying the timeline is off. And what he did, look, I understand, because you and I have been friends a long time. I've always been, I've not been a supporter of your theories on triangulation because I believe in principled governorship where you stand on your values and principles and you fight for them. And I think one of the things that's very consistent with who John McCain is that he was fighting for what's right. He was fighting to facilitate, wait a minute, to facilitate, to make the bill better. He accomplished it. If he would have played the political game you're suggesting, maybe he would have gained better. But I don't think that's who he is in his heart.
No, he could have gone into that debate and a la Ronald Reagan stood on principle, talked about the Republican alternative, pushed it, attacked the Democratic version. No, Newt Gingrich explained it the night before the debate.
But that was I understand that he could have fought for that, and that would have been fine.
That's what I'm saying.
But look,
he didn't mention it.
But remember, the timeline is this: he brought the House Republicans who had been pushed aside, that are now being blamed, even though 95 Democrats voted against it. He brought them into the process. The free market protections, the insurance that Wall Street would buy into, is only existent because McCain brought the Republicans in. It is a better bill. Now, they're going to have to go back to the drawing table. There still might be an opportunity to even push for more of these at this point.
Now, I think McCain could, because of the courage of those Republicans who rejected the bill and the timidity of the Democrats that were afraid to vote for it. There is now this window. What McCain needs to do is to make this the issue. This $750 billion is sticking in the American people's throat, and he needs to come out there and to say there is a better alternative. And the Democrats will go along with it because they won't want to give the Republicans the issue.
Right, because it is interesting. The Democrats didn't need the Republican votes. They're complaining, but 95 of their members didn't vote for it, which means they wanted cover.
In a heartbeat.
Well, they wanted cover from the Republicans.
And now you tell them you're not going to get cover unless you do the right thing.
All right.
That's what McCain needs to do right now.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being on board. Coming up.